And welcome to another great episode of Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio Show. Myself, Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studio.
Hey.
Dude, do not do that anymore.
Please stop.
Anymore. He's been in Colorado too long, y'all.
Stop the madness.
We got Captain Jason Prieto back in the house. And the big man, Big Rick, a.k.a. the wind dancer.
Hey.
And there has been plenty of wind to be dancing in, Rick.
There has been today. Yesterday.
There was plenty of it, Bubba.
Oh, come on. You guys are wussies.
We was dancing.
Hey, the fishing's been good, though. I will say that. The fishing has been good. It has definitely been productive. A little bit windy, but it has been good, guys. And,
we're going to talk a little bit today about etiquette, the markers, whether Travis wants me to or not.
Oh, gosh.
No, we're gonna do more than just complain.
We can touch on some etiquette.
We're gonna talk to people about what to do at the marker, what's right, what's technically wrong, and what happens,
what the results are,
and what the results are. I think it's.
Let's hear it.
A great show. We're gonna open the show.
We're gonna open the show.
He was trying. Fishing's been good.
It has been good.
I'm hoping Danny can text me a report. He went to Crystal River to do some Florida Guides Association work.
He did.
And I can't remember what he was going for because I was at the gym when he called me today. But he's going there to do some work for us fishing guides and recreational guides.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Danny.
And thank you, Danny. And anybody else that fishes for a living should be thanking, because it's this is the behind the scenes stuff that happens with the Florida Guides Association.
That's
and
right.
Yaeckel. There's a lot of meetings and a lot of stuff that goes into.
Well, and you touched on fishing for a living, but more importantly, Jason, the recreational guys. I mean, really, it's for everybody that utilizes the fishery in Florida, because we operate under recreational, regulations. So while they're fighting, it kind of runs hand in hand with what we're out there doing for the Florida Guides Association. It really benefits both sides in a lot of different instances, and I think that's a big part that probably a lot of people don't understand as far as what the actual organization or the association is doing. Is we're trying to protect the rights of recreational fishermen, because that's basically what we have to live by. And
we fall under the same
access to certain areas, take limits, seasons, all the size limits, all those different types of things that we are out there working for. It really boils down to any Joe Blow that runs out there and goes fishing. They're doing the same thing. So we just have a little more, probably what I'd say maybe a vested interest in it, because we do make a living at it. But at the end of the day, it really applies to everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
but when you hear Florida Guides Association, as an average angler, you probably are led to think, well, this is something for those guys.
Right.
But it is an association for us, but the main focus is everyone, and we try to voice an opinion on matters that are good for everyone, not for us. Because if it's good for everyone, it will be good for us.
What is, and I'm going to say this and take it for what it is. What is kind of sad with the industry is how many people are not involved, choose not to get involved, and a lot of it is just, what are they doing for me mentality.
That's the American mentality.
And I will tell you firsthand, some of the Florida Guides Association's problem is they're doing a lot, but they're not letting people know what they're doing, and that's something that we're working on, that I've kind of brought up as a solution. Guys, we're doing stuff, but the average Joe doesn't know we're doing stuff, and they just think we're an organization taking $110 a month from them and giving them a couple discounts.
Right.
And that is not the case. I mean, I can tell you that I sit on the board, and I didn't know what happened until I got on the board, and now that I see the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'll tell you right now, Charlie Phillips is one of the nicest guys I know, a true professional, and what he gets out of the Florida Guides Association and what he puts in it, I mean, if you look at it from that aspect,
he's not making money.
No, it's a waste of time.
Nothing.
It really is. You have to go beyond, I'm going to make money, but you have to take the mentality, you have to have the mental mindset of, I want to make a difference in the industry, and I want to do something productive, because while you might be good at fishing, some of these people don't even want you to fish. So as good as you are at fishing, especially if you're making a living doing it, if you don't go fight these battles, you are not going to be able to fish.
That's right.
And I mean, that's as simple as it comes right there. So anyways, thanks to Danny for going out, taking his day,
absolutely,
and putting in the time there. It was an annual FWC quarterly meeting that he goes to, and they go over a multitude of things. And I was going to call him. I think he was still in the meeting to figure it out. But hey, it's good stuff. It's just people don't realize what goes into that. So and it's not just guides. Again, we fall under the same criteria for the most part as the recreational anglers. So these are things that unfortunately, there's politics in everything in life, including fishing. And if we don't fight this stuff, it's going to be a mess. Good example, go look at the grouper and the red snapper regulations.
Right.
I mean, we as recreational anglers are getting hosed, absolutely hosed on that deal. And you know why? Because there's a commercial market, and the commercial guys get lobbyists involved because they have big money wrapped up in that.
Quotas.
And they get their quotas.
The answer to every question is money.
100%.
Unfortunately.
100%.
But my point being is we have to get involved in even recreational guys that are hardcore anglers, get involved. You know what I've learned too, Rick, is you'll learn a lot about species. You go to these meetings, it's more than just a bunch of crap that nobody wants to deal with, quite frankly. But you'll learn a lot of stuff. I've said this on the air multiple times. The Snook Symposium, one of the best things I've ever done in my guiding career. It was one day out of my time. I made some recommendations in front of the board. Heard a lot of stupid stuff, in my opinion. I heard some good things, and I learned a ton about the species. It made me a better snook fisherman.
Absolutely.
Honestly. And I'm more educated. And for me, that was value, because when I talk to customers about snook and why the limits are, which is we all know is an issue. When you go catch 30 snook, they're like, why can't we keep any of these? But when you understand their growth process and how they reproduce, it just makes it all around better. So you'll learn some stuff. Just take a little time and invest back into the industry.
For our vantage point, it's also good to be able to pass some of that knowledge along to the people we have on our boats. I didn't go to the last Snook Symposium, but I went to the one they had years ago, and one of the things that I learned, and I learned a lot, but the one of the things I learned that sticks in my mind is that a big snook, and when I say big snook, I'm talking a over slot snook, can go 60 days without eating. Now that's hard for me to comprehend.
That's a long time.
A small snook can go 30 to 40 days without eating. So when you're sitting on a bunch of snook and you're chumming them and you can see them and they're not eating, keep that in mind. That's what I tell people. I'm like, well, they may not eat today because they can go this long. They can go that long.
They might not eat this month.
They might not. That's right. And that's all. That's studies they've done in a controlled environment, because this all came from one of the scientists there. But that study's done in a controlled environment with the water temps down low, and we're never going to see those water temps for 60 days to keep a big snook from eating. We're not going to see that, but it can happen.
Or a bat full of chummers flying over their face.
But what I'm saying is, I guess it could happen, but it's not likely. But if it does happen, those fish will be fine. It's when it gets colder where that will mess them up. But they can go a long time without eating.
Absolutely. But the fish, let's round it back up here and just say that the fishing has been really good the last few days. I've been on the water and we'll get into some more reports here. It looks like we're coming up. We're going to have to take a little break here in a second, but I do want to talk about some of the fishing because, in my opinion, man, from a fishing perspective, spring is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't want to. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to blow the bubble, but and curse us with another cold front. But I'm seeing spring stuff. I mean, I haven't been fishing the flats yet, but as far as the water temperatures and the bait situation and even the fishing in general, it's looking like spring, man. But we'll talk about that, a little bit more here in the next segment. We're gonna have Rick coming up. He's gonna do tides and weather, but real quick, I want to give another big shout out to Tampa Fishing Outfitters for supporting us. They're a great company. If you haven't been down there, go check them out. Humpback cast nets, Daiwa Fishing, Cactus Juice, Power Pole. All these companies are really helping us out this year and help us out on a daily basis. So if you haven't checked them out, go check them out. But guys, we got a lot more fishing to talk about. In the meantime, we're going to hear a few words from our sponsors. And when we get back, we're going to have tides and weather from Captain Rick. You're listening to Tampa Fishing Outfitters radio show on Sports Talk 1040 Team. We'll be right back.
Here.
And welcome back, Tampa Fishing Outfitters radio show. Myself, Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studios. Big Rick, the weatherman, gonna give us some weather, and
Ron Burgundy.
We got our man, Captain Jason Prieto
Yes, sir.
back.
Yes, sir.
The snow princess. We're gonna hear.
Man,
You gotta have a couple good stories from the snow land.
It was fun,
But,
man. I had one bad fall, kind of scared me, bent my leg back a little bit, but nothing popped, and I got up.
It's a success.
It was a great trip. For you guys didn't know, I took off to Breckenridge, Colorado, did some snowboarding. Took a few days off guys trip. It was awesome, man. It was we do it every year, and kids and wife and all that stay at home, and somehow or another I pull this off. I guess I have a pretty nice wife.
Yes, you do.
She lets me go. So guys trip, man. Some high school buddies go, but it's fun. We just I probably did a little damage to my body, fireball at night and snowboard during the day. But hey, you know what?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
3 days of partying, I felt 40.
Yeah.
Not even 40, 39. I actually added a year because I felt 40, even though I'm only 39.
Puppies.
But
Just puppies.
Well, Rick, tell us what kind of weather we got there.
All right. Well, for Sunday, this is your weather. It's going to be high of 79, low is 57. We're going to have winds out of the south at 5 to 10. And as far as our tides go, low tide's at 10:20 in the morning, and it's a 0.10. And the high tide is at 4:32, and it's a 1.38. So decent tides, not great tides, decent
Should have
tides.
a new moon.
The weather's
this
going to be
weekend,
good.
I think.
With the temperatures and the winds are going to be light enough that it shouldn't bother anything. I like fishing the south wind, so it's going to be good. I actually have an afternoon trip on Sunday, so that
Winds out of the south, the fish open their mouth.
Dude, that whole winds out of the east, the fish bite least.
winds out of the west, the fish
I don't
bite the
understand
best.
none of that.
Hey,
This is how I look at it. Winds out of the east, I'm on the south shore, I'm good to go. Winds out of the west, I'm in trouble. That's how I look at it.
I don't care which way the wind's blowing. It's just going to determine where I'm going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never understood that analogy too much. I don't
And
know.
I was supposed to give the salooners this week, and had a little trouble with my app.
Yeah.
Had a little trouble getting the app
That's
going.
an understatement,
so
Rick.
that's I'll
You
have
guys
I'll
just
have the
wait.
salooners
Rick's flip
next
phone.
week.
Rick's having some trouble with his flip phone here.
But it's a challenge that I can conquer, and next week we'll have salooners.
You
He's
just
on
wait
it.
till Rick's
if I
got
have
to
to
run
go
the
buy a
soft.
farmer's almanac.
He's on it, man. He's
Wait
on it.
till Rick's got to run the software. We're doomed.
Oh,
No,
boy.
I got to take a
He's
picture
got
of
it.
that so I know how to hook it all
He's
up.
got it.
I
He's
got
got
to take
it.
a picture of that with my Polaroid so I know how to use it.
Chick click.
Well, guys, let's talk a little fishing. Let's talk a little fishing because I've been fishing quite a bit. I've been excited, man. I mean, the fishing has been really good. We've been catching big numbers of snook. Got on a trout bite here this last week that has been really good. No big trout. I mean, Jason, you got a nice trout today. You got a big boy trout.
Speak for yourself.
But we're getting numbers. We've had numbers. We're catching a lot of trout. Some trout finally moved in an area that I normally look for, trout fishing in the wintertime, and they finally moved in. And today we probably caught, I don't know, 20, 22, 23 trout, somewhere around in there, and then added up with another 20 snook or so, all on a 4-hour trip on a pretty poor tide, really. I mean, it wasn't the best tide, but it seems like any little bit of water moving here in the last probably week or so has really triggered a pretty decent bite. Getting around these winds, these south winds have kind of been a little gnarly, but tucking up behind some islands and fishing some deeper edges of some of these ponds, I like to call them. And there's been quite a few fish stacking up. And bait, bait's been really easy the last week or so.
We're still catching white bait, guys.
Piles of bait stacked up on only a handful of markers. It's not everywhere, but and from day to day it's been moving around. Depending on the tide and depending on the wind, some markers may be a little easier to get bait on than some of the other ones, but for the most part, all the markers, or most of the markers, the normal markers that we get bait on have been holding bait. And the cool thing is that this morning I went out and it took me about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes to catch bait. I threw the net twice. It took me longer to clean up. But I had baits from, 2 inches all the way up to Mamos, primos.
We had some nice,
5 inches or so.
Some nice ones yesterday mixed in with those we caught trout.
Yeah, so that was a really cool thing, especially this time of year, because sometimes you want that little bit bigger bait. Sometimes you want a little bit smaller bait. It just depends on, what they're feeding on. But to trigger some of those bigger or those larger fish to bite, sometimes it does take a little bit bigger, bait. And so it's nice to have a kind of an assortment of baits. And so everything is falling right in line to looking like we're going to have a pretty good spring. I'm hoping that we don't have any other substantial cold fronts, because I think the fish are going to start to soon try to make their way out of some of the river systems and some of these backwater bays that they've been sitting in for our quote-unquote winter. And I hope we don't get a sudden
we're gonna have a little
smash
chill Friday.
I hope we don't get a smash of a cold front, a big one that puts a hit on them. But I think it's been good, man. I'm really excited to be doing some fishing, busy the next, really 2 months of some good fishing. So I'm excited for it.
I'll tell you this. I think that these fish are in between. I mean, they're not real. There's some on the flats. There's some in the river. We're in a river pattern, but almost a spring pattern. We're somewhere in between. It's just been different, and it's not a bad thing, but it has been a little challenging. The best advice that I can give you fishing every day is read your water temperature. If it's 72, 73 degrees, you probably need to make your way to the flats. If you're reading in the mid 60s to low 60s after a cold front, start pushing up in the river systems and residential docks and stuff like that, because I really think these fish are moving in and out, especially in the
I don't
area
think they're
that we
going onto
fish.
the flats yet, though. They
I
may
don't,
be getting
yeah,
in some
I
of
don't.
the
I don't
passes,
think
but
they're ready to go yet.
there ain't no bait out there.
But
for them.
exactly. And
I've caught some fish in the backcountry.
You were dreaming. You were dreaming.
I'm
when that
telling
happened.
you, I caught them.
I'm joking. The backcountries I'll buy. The flats I want.
I haven't. Now I tell
Well,
you
when
what
I
I've
say flats,
seen.
that's what I meant.
There has been some fish, and there has been some redfish running the flats. There has been some redfish running the flats on the edges of the bars.
They're at. I see some trout out there too.
That's where, if you're going to do some flats fishing, I would say that right now is a good time to get out and do some sight fishing for some reds.
Okay, time out.
He's
Define-
eating him up. It was eating
Define
him up.
flats.
Huh?
Define flats.
Define flats.
Yes, define flats.
I'm gonna say that when I think of a flat, I'm gonna say exterior of any backcountry. In other words,
3
out
foot of
in
water
front-
or less.
No,
Flats
no.
ain't water depth.
No,
Flats
it's not
is
water depth.
geographical area.
Yes, I'm with you on that, Rick. I'm with you on
Whatever.
that. So, like, in other words, let's take an area from, let's say, Cockroach Bay.
Anything outside
So,
the passes.
outside of Big Pass,
Outside the passes.
outside the passes, outside of any interior islands, is going to be considered your
See?
flats.
Now
I knew I was bothering him with that.
Once you get back
That's
behind an
funny.
island, you're starting to get backcountry.
That's backcountry.
I agree.
that's
I agree.
flats.
That is not
I
flats.
was more general. You're just being technical as usual.
Hey, look.
No, backcountry and flats are different, bro.
It's
Mr.
way
I'm
different.
an engineer.
It's way different, man.
100%.
Same
Whatever.
type of water. You have open flats. That's where the fish normally travel. That's where they normally migrate through. You know, that's where they move from place to place. Normally, once they get back in the backcountry, they're normally settled down or hunkered down into certain areas. Normally a springtime thing, you know.
Whatever, man.
But listen,
Go to the flats.
No, go to the backcountry.
you,
Leave the
uh,
flats alone for just a little bit. Let some bait
Wrong
creep
answer.
up there.
you call it what you want to there, Slick.
Anyways,
Oh, snow
the fish are
prices.
starting to
Oh,
move.
snowbird.
We'll go ahead and be technical and say backcountry. But some of your passes and your cuts and crevices or whatever else you want to call
Crevices?
it. Whatever
Were you
wanna
on the
call it.
moon?
The chambers.
The crevices?
The bomb holes. Listen here, Skeeter Ditch, okay?
Hey,
Don't start
that is
making
a-
fun of me.
That is a real term.
Yeah.
That's a real term.
If you're in Ruskin.
Skeeter ditch.
Skeeter
That's
ditches
done.
are just a
Come
little bit.
on.
They're just a little bit
How about mosquito
smaller
ditch?
than creeks. No, they're not mosquito
It's
ditches.
a skeeter
Where
ditch.
you from?
Whatever. Where are you from is
Son?
the question.
Hey.
Come on, brother.
Too much time in Breckenridge.
Too
Hey,
much time
yeah.
in Hopies over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Skeeter
Anyhow,
ditches,
we're-
son.
So, the passes anywhere with a little bit deeper water with tide movement. How about that?
That's perfect.
Jeez,
That's
Oh,
perfect.
now you're
I
getting
take a
it.
day off and these
Yeah,
guys start
that's
beating
perfect.
up on me.
A
here.
day?
Well,
You've been
the
on a
flats,
week.
I mean,
You've
you
been on a week. I think you forgot
One
everything
show.
you knew.
I did.
Huh?
I did.
That's good.
But I tell you,
Goodness.
this past week, guys, I caught some nice trout. Didn't catch a bunch of them, but we got some studs.
You did get a pig.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I haven't caught a trout this big
That was
in
big.
a while.
That was big.
And so it's glad to see that we still have a few
And he did
big
release
trout.
that fish.
I
That
did.
fish is back. That's awesome.
That is a baby maker
That's
right
a
there.
baby
son.
maker right there.
She is making it rain right now.
Yes.
So, but there's some bigger trout starting to show up. But it's still, guys. I will say this: Stuart Ames gave me a report up in the Clearwater area. Said they're doing really good on trout, nice trout. So it's good to hear that area is holding trout good. But I think Brett Norris was still kind of on the fence with, and they've got a very good trout fishery over in St. Pete.
Yeah,
And,
it's just been it's been a real hit and miss. Like I said, I've been on a really good trout bite the last, I don't know, what's that been, about 5-6 days now, and they're sitting in a couple different areas, but there's a large population of them, which is nice. These aren't bigger fish. These are your schoolie fish, anywhere from, I'd say, 13. Biggest one we caught was like 21 inches or so. But there's quite a few of them, so it's been nice to see them. But it's literally a concentrated area of one big knot of trout.
It is.
You get
And I
outside
watched-
of that, and you're kind of out of the zone, you know?
We caught some of those fish yesterday, and I said, well, no, you did. And I watched a guy fish the same before I even went over there to that area. I watched a guy fishing those fish with shrimp and
Mhm.
a popping cork, and he zeroed.
Yeah.
He fished it for about 45
Yeah.
minutes, and he zeroed. And you and I kind of met on opposite sides of that. And you had a better bite than I did. We didn't catch as many keepers as I don't know how many fish you caught. We caught a lot of fish. We didn't catch that many keepers. I think we had
Right.
3 keepers. And
We happened to land right on, and I went back there today, and literally it's just a spot.
but
There's
their
no-
white bait. What I was getting at is that they wanted that white bait.
They did.
They did not want them
They
shrimp.
did. They wanted to be chummed hard. So did the birds.
So did the birds.
But well, guys, we're flying by. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about still. The birds are flying by. Next segment we got coming up is going to be the Come On Man. You listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters radio show on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. Hang tight. Hear a few words from the sponsors, and we'll be right back, guys.
And welcome back, boys and girls, men and ladies, guys, girls of all sizes. You're listening to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. Myself, Captain Jason Prieto, is in the studios again.
With the Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Yes, sir. Hey, we need to liven the crowd up a little bit. We got Captain Rick over here, Big Country. And then we got Shorty, Travis.
Little Napoleon.
Travis, America.
Dude.
Guys, you're listening to the show. If you're just tuning in, I think we're on our third segment already. We're cranking through the show, and this is the Come On Man segment. And I've got the Come On Man, but it's actually going to lead into our third segment, education on why, if you do these things, you won't be on the Come On Man.
You get into the etiquette.
Going to roll into the etiquette,
Right.
but I'm going
We're
to
getting
start
into
off.
etiquette.
I know where this is going.
We're out there, and of course, there are some markers still holding bait, and there's a few of them that got bait, and I was out there minding my own. Another captain was out there getting bait. He got done. I kind of sat back on the trolling motor, put the Rodan in anchor mode, and held back. He got done, and so I and he was rodeoing the bait, and I particularly don't like to rodeo bait. And I was like, I do it, but I'd just rather set up, chum, whack it real good instead of throwing 4 or 5 more times. Anyways, he got done, got in place. This guy comes with a jet boat, music blaring. They roll up to the marker. Any bait here? I'm like, yeah, there's a little bit. Just thinking, oh boy. So the wind's kind of blowing, and the dude pulls out the first thing we tell everybody every other week not to do. Pulls out the old 6-foot net. Now keep in mind, it's like a 24-foot jet boat, and the wind's blowing out of the east at about 15 to 20. I'm on the east side of the marker because obviously I'm upwind. And I'm throwing the 12-footer, and he sees me get it. I'm like, here we go. So, dude rolls up.
Did you tell him that 6-footer ain't no match for the Hellcat?
I did. I said, listen, he comes up and he tries to throw on the side of the marker. It gets better, Travis. Don't worry. Trust me when I tell you that. He throws the net, and the 6-foot net opens up to about 3 foot. And the bait's on the bottom, so I'm just like, I looked, I said, listen, man, you're not going to get bait with that net. I just told him. I was like, because he kept coming up. So then the wind kept blowing the bow around because it was catching it sideways. So then they proceed to come about 2 foot from the side of my boat, and I'm anchored up.
That's when you just get the dip net out and go here.
No, hold on,
Start
time
throwing
out.
them
It gets
down.
better, Travis.
They
proceed to back into the marker. He's going to throw off the back of the boat.
Oh, yeah.
With the exhaust and the jet drive blowing the marker out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good.
Did this 5 times. And I said, if you give me 10 minutes, I will be out of your way. And he was, oh, we're good, man. He's on vacation. We're just having fun. I'm thinking, that's good. But you're
I'm not on
screwing me
vacation.
up
I'm
here.
working right now.
And I'm like, I just sat there and I looked at him. And meanwhile, I'm pulling more and more bait up as I would just wait for him. And then actually at one point, he was coming up and I'm looking at him. He's from like 5 feet from my boat with the wind blowing kind of at us. I think he's going to hit my boat. And I just chummed and I seen the bait. And right when he goes to back up and throw, I just sling like the 12-footer over the whole marker and whack it. And he throws right over the top of my. I was like, because I already had chummed the bait up. He's about to blow it out again. And it's just like, come on, man. And all this, and they didn't get one piece of bait.
Well, of course.
And when I tell you they were backing up to the marker, the dude's boat is like, with the exhaust and jet drive, is like 2 foot from the marker.
That's not good.
And actually one side, because I was on the other corner of the marker, I think he actually blew the bait
To you.
with the exhaust and the prop wash into my net because I really whacked it one time.
So you should be thanking him, Jason.
I'm just like, come on, man. Here's the deal, guys. Etiquette. Couple things you need to catch bait, especially when it's colder. As it gets colder, your bait's going to move deeper. It's going to move to deeper depths on the water, and it's going to go to the bottom on the shallower markers. There's an easy way to chum it up. Go to Ace. I'm going to say Ace because it's by my house. Go to any feed store. Get you Purina 45. There's also a product out there called M80 Chum that you can buy at Dick's or anything else like that. It's a little more expensive. All works great. Chum your bait to the surface. Take your time. Buy a 10 to 12 foot net. Don't buy an 8-footer. Don't buy a 6-footer. And I don't want to hear that I can't throw it. Figure it out, because when you throw the 6-footer, you're throwing it wrong. And it's a waste of time.
A 6-footer is harder to throw than an 8.
It is.
Harder to throw than a 10.
Go invest
harder.
the money, chum in a net, and understand that because you have a 4-stroke and it sounds quiet on top,
It ain't quiet.
the exhaust is actually underneath the water. This is such a big misconception. It surprised me how people do not know this. That 4-stroke is just about as loud as a 2-stroke under the water. It really is. And if you don't believe me,
Go
hook
under the water and listen.
well, either do that or hook your hose up and crank your 4-stroke up
Right.
in your driveway. So when you back down on a marker, you're making a lot of noise down there.
Yes.
Here's a couple little
And
tricks.
if you blow them out with the bubbles,
Yeah, if
You
you,
just
if
push.
you just when you start goosing at a marker, and you throw all that water because you're about to hit the marker, you came in hot, and you reverse it real hard or go forward or whatever, what you're doing is you're spooking all that bait away from the
That's
marker
right.
and scattering it. What happens is if you do this time after time, or if you throw a 4-foot net 80 times at the same marker, the bait spooks out away from the marker. When you typically come to a marker, it is stacked on the marker,
Mhm.
which means you can throw
Chum 'em.
you can chum them up, throw them, be done. My recommendation, not unless the tide's really ripping, is to anchor up, chum, take your time. The other thing you also do in the springtime is when you anchor up, you kind of mark your spot. So
Right.
the guys that are rodeoing, they're gonna have to wait till you're done.
Right.
When
First
you start
come.
rodeoing, you throw once. If you don't get it, the guy's coming right behind you. Now I will tell you that the rodeoing thing, it works. I don't personally like to do it, but when you do it, you really need to understand how to drive your boat.
Yeah.
Look at the wind direction, look at the tide direction, know when to throw your net. Trust me, it's hard. It's not easy even for us when you have a ripping tide at a
Right.
marker. You're going to lose more nets doing it that way, and you might wreck them into the marker and do a lot of damage. So you need to understand your boat, understand what you're doing out there, have the proper tools, because not only are you going to screw it up for yourself and not get bait, the people that are out there trying to get bait, you're going to mess them up too. And it's just a lot of educating yourself before you get out there. If you can't throw a 10-foot net or a 12-foot net, my recommendation is don't go to a marker, because the chances of getting bait with an 8-foot net,
Stuff.
about 10% of the time you're actually going to get bait. It just doesn't happen. It's deep water. The fish will outswim the net. So there's just a lot of things that I think, and I've said this on the show before, and I'll keep saying it because I think that the more that we can try to educate people, the better off we all are.
Right.
I don't need to say that, hey, I'm the best cast net person out there because I know all the secrets. How about I share the secrets with you and you do it the right way, then we all
Right.
get bait.
100%.
So that's how I feel. It's just, this guy was bad. I mean, he's like 2 foot. I started being concerned with the way he was coming in and the wind was blowing him. And I haven't driven a jet boat, but I don't think they have the control that a regular outboard
know.
does. I thought he was going to hit my boat at one point. I'm thinking, man. So I was kind of getting ready to get a brush and stick. I mean, he was getting that close. And I honestly don't think he was being a prick. I just don't think he knew.
He just didn't know. Right.
But I was kind of telling him, you're not going to, I told him you're not going to bait with that net. Like, I'm watching, and he's throwing it, and he's not even open the 6-footer.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I
that's
mean,
a-
you might kill a bait by hitting him like a shotgun with a lead.
That's a losing proposition there.
Yeah,
Did
so-
you give him any when you got done
Actually, he finally gave up.
and left?
I told him, I said, the bait's deep, man. You're not going to get it doing that.
Yeah.
Because he was messing me up.
Yeah.
And then I just said, well, they're not going to learn it. And it actually started pushing the bait towards me more, which is rare. Usually they just blow
Right.
the whole market out. But dude, go on YouTube, guys. There's plenty of ways to learn how to throw a net. I mean, you don't have to get the net exactly pancake. But the other thing, too, with the bigger nets, you need the weight. Sometimes it's not. If you can take that 12-footer
Right.
and throw it 70%, the weight is going to get it down on that
Shoot,
bait.
I think sometimes the lesser, or I don't know what word I'm looking for, the not as good of throws sink faster.
Sometimes, yeah,
I know
because
they do, because you get that parachute
When you,
effect
when you
going.
spread that net out, man, you have more resistance in the water. Like we were talking about the other day, Rick, and one of the things was that a lot of times too, you're talking about getting bait at the mark or whatever. You got to remember that the longer you sit there, the more the conditions change.
Mhm.
So where you threw, if you're sitting there and it takes you, let's say, a half hour, maybe even 45 minutes to get bait, and you're sitting there chumming, you're going to notice the tide's either going to pick up or it's going to slow down. And as you're throwing at that marker, you may have to increasingly move your position where you throw off the boat.
And that's what we did yesterday.
And that's what we did the other day. And there was a couple times where I opened the net up so much, and not as a bragging point, but I opened the net up so much that I had to pull it in, because the bigger you open it, the more resistance you have going down in the water, and it'll actually sink slower. And so we were getting too close to the marker, and we had to, kind of pull it in quicker. So
Well, a 12-footer.
there's a lot of stuff to kind of figure out when you're out there catching bait on the markers.
A 12-footer is not always better. And good examples, if you're at the Skyway Bridge getting bait between the pilings, there's times where I'll half throw my 12-footer
So you get down in
you
between
can't.
them.
Well, because you can't control that net is so big, and you're in a confined area that you can't place it like a 10-footer.
Especially if you're throwing in between two spans.
Right, because that 12-footer is about the length of the span.
Sometimes if I'm under the bridge throwing in a span, I'll actually sometimes, because I like to throw the net high to get it open because I'm a little bit shorter, so it takes me a little bit. I gotta put the net up high and get it out. And sometimes when I'm under the bridge, I gotta short strike it because if not, I end up hitting the top of the bridge trying to get the net completely
done that
open.
before.
You know what I mean? And then you end up, it tangles and does whatever it does. But a 10 to 12 is definitely what you need if you're trying to get bait on any kind of depth. I would say over 6 foot. If you're on the edge of a flat or something like that, you're right there on the borderline. But once you start to step out there into deep water land, you need to get a big net. And like you said, the size of the net and the weight of the net are probably the two most important things.
Look at when you guys go to purchase a net. Look at the pounds per foot.
Yeah.
1.8 is a good number to look at. 1.8, 1.7 pounds per foot is a good number to go by. It's going to be a heavy net. If you're going on the flats, you don't want the heavy net.
No,
you want a lighter net.
I use the humpback. That's what's cool about the humpback. And we're running out of time here, but the humpback cast net from Lee Fisher, Tampa Fishing Outfitters, they have two different flavors of it. They actually have a shallow water version. And I've got a 10-foot heavy and I've got a 10-foot shallow for in the spring. And it's a really nice net for throwing on grass flats because you might not get quite as much bait even though you throw over a big school, but you're not getting hardly any of the grass when you pull it up because it kind of skims across the grass as opposed to pulling it up.
And you can throw that net.
And you could chuck and chuck and chuck.
Throw that net
and
50 times and not get tired.
Yeah, absolutely. But well, that's good stuff, man. And we got one more segment coming up here, Jay.
I told you it wasn't going to be that bad.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad
at all.
It wasn't bad.
Considering the guy almost hit my boat 3 times.
I would have liked to heard that he crashed into your boat and then you ended up giving him bait and you told him how.
Listen, that guy crashed in my boat. I might give him a hard time, but I ain't giving him bait.
Got his number.
Got his number. Y'all had a few beers afterwards.
Yeah.
Come on,
maybe
man.
a beer bottle over the head might have been in. Well, guys, we'll take a little break. We get back when we get the captain's tip of the week, and we're going to talk more fishing. And listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio on Sports Talk 10 for the team. We'll be right back.
Stop by Tampa Fishing Outfitters today and check out our Ohiro product line. Rods, reels, fluorocarbon lines, braided lines, hooks, and much more. Packed with an incredible inventory of over 10,000 items in stock. Tampa Fishing Outfitters is the perfect destination for any of your fishing needs. We also carry a great selection of sunglasses and fishing apparel. Our knowledgeable guides are here to answer all of your questions and to repair your rods and reels. Visit any of our 3 convenient locations for all of your fishing needs. Tampa Fishing Outfitters. If we don't have it, you don't need it.
You have to bring that.
And welcome back, Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio Show on Sports Talk 10-4 to the team. Myself, Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studio.
Hey.
Princess Prieto, the
Yes,
Snow
sir.
Princess,
The Snow
is
Princess.
back.
How did I get that title?
and Big Rick, a.k.a. the Wind Dancer.
Wind dancer.
And we're talking fishing, guys. We're talking about spring is right around the corner. Spring is almost here. I'm curious to see what happens in the next 2 weeks. I always say in the guide business, February 15th is the date that I say the charters are coming. We're going to get flooded. Within that range. Hang on, yeah. Because
Hold tight, baby.
we're going to be busy to our ears.
I tell you,
and that's where spring kind of kicks off. We had a curveball a few years ago with 2010, 11.
That was a big curve.
Listen.
That was major league curve right there.
Yeah, that was the only time I think I've used shrimp in March.
That was
And
tough. That was.
Thank God for
I'm gonna
Big
tell you
Black
what.
Drum because
that's where I was getting ready to say.
No doubt.
I want to talk about those for a minute because we're getting close to that, and I wonder if I actually got a little bit of word that there's been some fish moving in out there. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
kind
that
of excited to go check out.
2010, before you get to the drum, which that's fun. But before you get to that, 2010, as bad as it was, it had some good things because it weeded out.
Yes.
It weeded out some guys that I'm not going to say shouldn't have been in the business, but they did not represent well. Which I basically shouldn't have been in the business, but we weeded out some. We weeded
So what
out,
you're saying
we
is,
weeded out some guys that didn't represent us as a Captain Brotherhood.
Guys. And
with,
you always get that.
Yeah, but
that was tough, man. I remember 2010. I finally caught a snook in April, and I caught the snook, and I swear to you, it looked like the stomach was caved in on the fish, and the eyeballs were popping out of its head.
Yeah.
And it just looked like it had been starving. Like it hadn't eaten. It was really depressing.
Jason and I ran a double. That it was either 2010 or 2011 in the summer. We ran a double trip or a 2-boat deal, and we get back to the dock, and the guys had left, and we had caught on my boat 4 or 5 snook. I mean, not many. And I think, Jason, you guys had done about the same. And I told Jason when they drove off, I said, "You want to hear something crazy?" I said, "That guy offered me $500 above and beyond the cost of the trip if he could keep that." It's like a 24-inch snook. And this was like in July. They weren't even in season. And I told him, well, they wouldn't even, they never even opened the season. But I told the guy, no, and explained to him why and all that kind of stuff. And Jason said, same exact thing happened to me. A guy all these guys were together. They come in from Chicago. No reflection of Chicago, but they're too busy killing each other. But both of these, I think they were like mafioso or something. I don't know. But they were offering. And Jason said, "Yeah, they offered me the same thing. The guy offered me $500.
I'll give you $500.
He goes, "So you mean it's only a big extra $500? I can't get that fish?" I said, "No." He goes, "Why?" I said, "Because we've lost 70% of our fish.
Yeah.
Why am I going to kill these fish?"
Well, there wasn't even a season. I mean, it was like first of all, he's not big enough that it wasn't season.
Right.
Second of all, there is no season.
Third of all, in 2010, I didn't know if I was ever going to catch snook again like I used to.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I will tell you, the one thing 2010 did for me as a fisherman, as a guide, when I have a 30 snook day,
You appreciate it a little more, don't you?
I honestly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I honestly say that this is how it used to be, and this is something. And I will tell you right now, I am a snook fisherman.
Yes.
I catch everything, but I like catching
Yeah.
snook. I think there's no more joy than catching snook. Small, big, I just think that they have a unique.
They do.
They have a unique thing about them.
I think I treat them a little kinder now too, with de-hooking them and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
just kinda a little
the
more
good thing
gentle
about
with them.
snook though, them things, man, they're not trout. They're
hardy,
they're
but
tough.
I just kind of appreciate them more.
Yeah, but when you have them good days,
Yeah.
I mean, we went a year or two without. I mean, it was
No.
2010,
Yeah.
2011, 2012. I started catching decent fish. I would tell you in 2013, I didn't catch numbers, but I caught a lot of big snook.
Big snook.
And I know what it was.
It's
the
the
slot was
residual.
closed,
Yeah.
and we didn't have the small fish. The small fish were like 10, 12 inches. So all we had was the mediocre ones and the big ones. And I caught a lot more big
Yeah.
snook. And as the numbers increased through the years, it's the big ones have kind of thinned out. But back to what I was saying, we're not really having a winter, so to speak. I mean,
No.
we're having cold spurts, but water's 73, 74 degrees today on my bottom machine. It got up to 70, 73. So I don't think we're really going to have a winter. I almost wonder, though, is it going to take away from our March fishing a little bit? Because these fish, they're not going to be as hungry because there's already been bait thrown at them.
Right.
There's, I'm curious to see how it goes. I think it'll be good, but it's almost good to have like 3 or 4 weeks of cold.
Yeah.
Like last year, we got from second week of January to the second week of February, we got hammered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my charter business shows that I canceled 12 trips in that span, and it was slow. But come March, it was game on.
It was a good bite last March.
So, I'm curious to see how this year goes. But 2017 has been a good year.
Well, hit us up with the drum over there, Travis. You're itching, I know.
Well, I was just saying, for me, middle of February, March big drum. I mean, that's when they generally we'll find the big mud slick, the big mud rip, and we'll go fish on some big drum. And I got word from a buddy of mine that fishes over in the St. Pete area that they ended up they didn't find a big school of drum, but they ended up finding some drum, and they caught quite a few of them. And
Well, the smaller school sometimes is better.
yeah, there was. He said there was about 20 fish, and they were working a particular bar that we
That's
like to
awesome.
fish. And it was kind of funny because, normally when you start doing that, you're still in a jacket. You're still, you normally got a live well full of shrimp, and we're throwing jigs at them.
Yeah.
Typically wouldn't go get white bait or whatever.
Or
It was
snatch hooks.
Or how
We
I
know
think
that guy.
guys now be shooting them with bow and arrow, but anyway, so that was kind of cool, and there's this February 17th kind of rings the bell for me, and when I get around that date, I kind of think about going out there looking for black drum.
What's the date? What's your date?
February 17th.
So we got the 14th or 15th and 17th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, that's just kind of, I don't know. It's just ingrained in my memory. I had a really good day probably about 4 years ago. And I caught with Captain Danny Garino. I went out with him and we caught like 6 of them. One of them had to have been close to 65 pounds. I mean, just mooses. And I know that, like I said, this time of year is when they generally show up, and it's a really cool fish to go catch, especially for clients. They catch that big fish. They're normally, you can see them for the most part.
It just got too
And
crazy out there.
it
A
does.
few years
It
back.
gets real crazy.
It got too much like tarpon fishing in Boca.
Yeah, and people were trolling snatch hooks through the school. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, man. It's not
That's
fishing.
a little. I mean, that's a little
Oh,
ridiculous.
remember that guy in a John boat?
Yes.
He would
without a
run
doubt.
through the school with a John boat he had like a treble hook snatch hook, and I was like, I think I
also
told Rick, I was
remember
like,
a
I'm
guy
getting out of
doing
here,
that.
man.
I mean,
was like, people get ridiculous. Like, just
a lot
go
of
out there.
times, a lot of times in fish, people claim that they eat the jig
Yeah,
and all this
they
stuff.
ate it right
and
through the
it's-
dorsal fin or something.
Yeah, or
that was
stuck
cool.
on the side of their face. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of times they're so tightly packed and they're such a big animal that they don't get out of the way very quick. And you drag a big jig through them. A lot of times you'll hook them on the side of the face and stuff like that. But real fun fish to catch. And like I said, just February kind of marks that date for me. And so it's something that I'm probably gonna go poke out and look and see if maybe I can find a little pot of them or something to play with. But other than that, I'll kind of go ahead and lead in. We're just about done with the show, but I'm going to throw a captain's tip of the week out there and just say,
Charge your batteries.
make sure you charge your batteries.
He said you're
Big
going to
Rick.
throw that in there.
Big Rick had to come.
Hey, that was just for us. You don't even need to go nowhere with it.
But
Well,
you said it on the air.
Well, you got it on the air, so now it's open.
That is
Hey,
that
Big
is
Rick,
no.
Big
Listen,
Rick
let me tell you
gets an
something.
attaboy.
That was
'cause he
just something.
come-
If you got a boat, keep your batteries charged. That's
Big
all I was
Rick come
getting
and
at.
saved me the other day. We a lot of the fishing we've been doing is in the same spot.
You told on yourself,
We've been
man. I
we've been
wasn't
trolling
putting it out
around,
there for
kind
that.
of hanging in the same spot. We fished for about 5 hours without ever cranking
The
the
old
motor.
Triton wouldn't fire off, would
And
it?
the old Triton, actually wasn't the Triton, it was the daggum interstate battery. But
The old interstate.
the old interstate
Triton.
battery. But
The old Triton
anyway,
wouldn't
so
fire off.
I give my hats off, the old America, to Big Rick.
That wasn't
for,
what I said.
for
that.
saving
That
us
was
there.
supposed to be our little secret.
Well, guys, it's been a good show. We appreciate you tuning in on our Facebook live feed, also on 1040 if it's Sunday morning for you. We would hope that you guys tune in next week. We're going to get some more guests scheduled in. We got Captain Charlie Phillips is going to be coming and talking Florida guides and among other stuff. March 2nd, I think it is. That first week,
Yes.
that first Wednesday of March, we'll have him in the
Yes.
studio live talking, and we get ready for the regional meeting. So anyhow, guys, you listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters. Until next week, tight lines and go catch them up.
Out.
Out.